to see there's been a few more people getting in touch and downloading the project file for this. I'll get it out of the way at the start here. I've said this before, the songwriter has allowed me to use this song and allowed people to download the multi-track file, the Reaper project file, for you to join in and mix yourself. But she did it on condition that I had some form of control, so therefore I'm asking that you subscribe to the channel and send me a message and I'll send you the Dropbox link for you to download this file. Okay? We're on episode 5, I think. I think so. Episode 5. And I'm going to get onto the bass. I'm going to try something different I haven't done with bass before. We'll get into it and you'll understand what I'm talking about. I just want to quickly mention the drums before I carry on. You'll probably notice in the project file you get, I haven't done any drum editing on this. I didn't need to. It was that simple. So I just haven't had to use a drum editor and tighten things up at all. It was fine as it was. But one last little thing that I'm doing on the drums, I have got this baby on here. On the bottom end, as you can see, this is a multi-band saturation plugin, distortion plugin, whatever you want to use it for. In this case I'm just using some warm tape on the two lower bands, lower frequencies. So what's that, going up to 110, this one's up to 620 roughly. The reason I'm using warm tape is because it gives it a nice round bass tone and that I like, so I'm using that. And then on the top two here I'm using heavy saturation, just to give me a different flavour, just to bring out the snare. So if I just give you a listen to it with and without, and you can see what it's doing. Just gives the drums a bit more life, a bit more about them, a little bit more movement. Another plugin you can use that's good for this is Vitamin, or there is tricks in Reaper that I might go into in other videos after I'm finished this series, where you can split a signal up into different frequency bands and treat it and then bring it all back together. But we'll maybe do that outside of these mix videos. So that's me, all I've done there extra with the drums. So now if we move on to the bass, it is just, I recorded a bass AI, that was all I recorded, and I've doubled it up. Now I've got here the Satson. Now what I would usually do would be to use multi-band compression to compress the bottom end differently to the top end and to really try and tighten the bottom end up. But I'm going to try something different with this one. I listen to the tone I get, and I'm going to try and do this as freeware as I can, or cheapware as I can. This bass amp from Computer Music Magazine, obviously you've got to buy the magazine to get it. So we've got that on my bass amp, one that I'm going to create as a bass amp, and I've got the DI here. Now the DI has got a nice sound in the bottom end, so if we solo it, I'll listen to it. There's a lot of top end in there as well, obviously, but that's going to be transferred over to the other track here. But it's got a nice roundness to the bottom end, so I'm going to make use of that. And instead of multi-band compression, what I'm going to try and do is take the top end out of the DI track and just have the bottom end in there, and then on the amp track have mainly top end in there, and then blend the two together and see what happens if it's an alternative to a multi-band compression. A little bit of an experiment, but hey, you only learn if you try. So I'm going to use the Satson here, and I'm going to roll out a lot of that top end, pretty much just over 1k there. And then we have jumping ahead by doing this, but if I've got a FabFilter Pro in, that I'm cutting out a lot of the bottom end. There's a frequency in here I didn't like as well, but we can get into that. So I think I'm going to have to put all of these on and just go for it. So the bottom end, what I'm doing is I've got this A1 stereo control. This is a freebie as well, a1audio.de, go and get it. And I've just totally monoized it, made it totally mono. In fact, I think there's a button here you can just make it mono. Yeah, I didn't even do that, I just turned it down. And that's it, I'm just going to make that totally mono. So the bottom end now is really constrained in the middle there. And the top end I'm not doing that, although I'm not making it stereo, but I'm not trying to constrain it in any way. So if we give a listen to what we've got, with them blended just as they are, and if I take out the top end, you can hear it's just that bottom end. I've put in this little head crusher with just a little bit of just grit in there just to give it a bit of life. And then I've got the stereo control, which is making it totally mono. But it doesn't really do it, but I just want to make sure that there's nothing straight. So that's that one. So if we have a listen to the top end now. So without the FabFilter and this. So that's us back to our DI. I'm just using this for gain staging. I had to bring it down a little touch more. A hot signal. Then I'm adding in bass amp, which I'm accenting a lot of the top end, not so much the bottom end. With a bit of gain to help it cut through. Nova, I'm using primarily there's a frequency in the bottom end of this bass that really wants to poke out. So I started off, I'm using it for that, but then it's kind of useless because I'm cutting all that out anyway. So I don't really need that, so I'll switch it off. It doesn't really do anything. So it was just before I decided to work this way that I had that in. We'll leave that out for now. So I've shown you the bottom end. So if we bring both of them in, now we've still got this little frequency that wants to poke out. So I'm going to bring all of these in and show you what's going on. Well, let's stop that. Now, all of these are free, by the way, the two Novas and the Loudmax here, which is like an L2 kind of limiter, all free. Okay. So the first Nova, I have decided that the kick drum is going to be more of the bottom end. That's going to be king of the bottom end. So I'm using an external sidechain, which you can see up here. I can get an external sidechain. So I have routed my kick-in microphone from 1 and 2 into 3 and 4 in here, which is the sidechain channels of this channel. So as soon as I do that and I play it, see that's compressing that bottom end every time the kick hits. Let's bring the kick in so you can hear it. Okay, so that's what that's doing. It's just dropping out a bit of that bottom end to allow the kick to roll that space there. Now you've seen this before in another video I did. But then I've added in another instance of Nova, but this time with internal sidechain. So what I'm trying to do is control that frequency. Although the bass has been dropped out with the kick, that's only when a kick hits it. The rest of the time it's still kind of there, and that frequency that was annoying me is trying to poke through. So I drop this out and play it. Bring it in. See, it's that lower note there. It's just keeping that under control. Can you hear that kind of almost distorting kind of? If I bring in Nova. keeps it under control. It just stops that distortion layer starting to come up there that I don't like. It's probably coming from some of my processing, but I like what I'm getting from the processing, and I like that as an overall bass sound. The loud mics, really keeping it under control. You can do like with the L2, you can link the two controls and drag them down to where you want and then adjust. So I've adjusted my output a little bit higher than what I'm limiting it at. So that's giving me a bit more roundness again by limiting and compressing it. Yeah, you hear that? And that's my bass sound. In the mix, I know it sounds a bit clicky and all the rest of it, but I like that pick. I like hearing that pick. So in the mix, it helps it to cut through. I'm still on my kick solo, don't I?
In my head, I can't explain, it's a crazy.
Bass is really difficult to mix in if you've just got the bass tone. You'll feel the bass, but you can't hear all the notes. So what you can do is like double up your track and distort one of the tracks, really fuzzy kind of distort, and mix it in underneath there, and that'll help you to hear the notes. I'm using that click on the bass amp track along with the gain to give me a little bit of distortion, and that's helping that the notes to cut through. So if you listen to the bass now, you can actually hear every single note and not just some kind of rumble at the bottom end there.
In my head, I can't explain, it's a crazy game, but I want you to know I'm on my way.
So that's the drums and the bass now starting to take shape. So if we just solo out the drums and bass and have a listen to that, you see how they're working together now instead of fighting each other. Can you feel how the kick is filling out that bottom end when it hits? It's got space there. If I switch off that external side tune, they're fighting each other now. Can you hear that? Bring it in. Now there's space for the kick. So they're working together nicely now. So as it's Sunday and I'm in a good mood, I'm having a beer. One thing I will say to you about alcohol, when you're mixing, don't drink, because every beer that you have, or what you lose, the high end of your hearing range goes slowly down and down. You shouldn't drink the day you're mixing, because you lose a lot of the top end hearing with alcohol. So there you go, well-known fact. At least it should be. But no, seriously, it does impair your hearing, that you lose certain degrees of the top end if you've been drinking. Anyway, that's it for this one. I'm going to leave it at that. Short video, is it? How long is this one? 15 minutes. Wow. What I will say at this point, I'm going to start thinking about bringing in reference tracks. Now, in these videos, I'm not going to play these reference tracks for you because I don't want to run into problems with copyright. I'll tell you what I'm using. I haven't quite decided yet. I've got a few ideas, but I'm going to bring a few in. And where I usually go to next, now that I've got the drums and the bass working together, is to the vocal. And start get the vocal sounding good, and then bring the guitars and everything around the vocal so that they fill out that space around them, the singing. But that's for other videos, so we'll leave it at that. So please like, subscribe, and if you subscribe, get in touch and I'll send you a link to the Dropbox so you can download this project file and just have a go at mixing. So it's always good to practice with different material. Yeah, and we'll leave it at that. So thanks for watching, thanks for all the really nice comments and messages I've been getting, people getting in touch on Facebook. It's been great. I really appreciate it, really appreciate it. And glad that you find these videos interesting. It's cool. Alright, till the next time. Over now.